Okay.
LMAO.
Hey there, everyone. For real this time, we tried... Okay. So, for real this time, I tried to record earlier, and the video wasn't actually recording because my software was being a butt. But,
Shoot camera.
I just said that
it was the software.
I work tech support. I'm just telling it that it gotta behave itself.
Well, don't fake shoot it. That's not nice.
Okay. We're here to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm Nate Saber, or Sean if you really care enough. This is Hunter and Tim.
Greetings and salutations.
Oi!
See, that picked up.
Oh.
Wow, it didn't even spike.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so just...
Huh.
Exactly. Just, haha.
Mid-recording mic check. Anyway, go ahead.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Great movie. Damn.
Volume 2.
Volume 2. Volume 2.
Volume 2.
We made a joke about how we made a Guardians of the Galaxy 1 movie review, but it was awful, so I'm not making it again. Yes! I could not find flaw with what I watched.
Corrupted. It was corrupted.
You didn't hit the record button. There's a difference.
The Volume 1 review is not there because it was corrupted. Actually, it wasn't. I thought I did do a review on that. Whatever. Anyway, yes, there was almost no fault to Volume 2.
There was, what fault I could find is extremely nitpicky.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just, nitpicky in the highest order, essentially. And I hate it when people pick nits that high, so, whatever. Stop it.
Well, I mean, that's the point of a review. The nitpicks are probably the biggest critiques that people want to know what we figured out with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're doing the non-spoiler version first, spoiler version later. We're each going to give our thoughts on the matter, and then we're going to continue on.
Okay.
So, I guess we're going to go down the line. Conga it. Tim.
Okay, so I have a little bit of a point to make on this regard, and so I would just like to go on this regard. So, character-wise, I cannot find any problems with how anyone was portrayed. If you liked the characters from the previous movie, I don't see why you wouldn't. But if you liked them, then you know that they are going to be freaking awesome in this film. If you didn't like them, then shame on you. Okay. But I would like to make a little bit of a point. Drax the Destroyer, also known as crud.
Drax.
Well, no, I'm talking the actor. Batista, yeah. My apologies. Edit in the first name. I don't know.
Drax was... Yeah, I'm gonna look that up. Where's my phone?
Batista. This man was not... this man is probably one of the best characters in the entire film because...
Oh, your phone trigger.
I honestly...
Huh?
Phone trigger is really amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I have never... essentially... sorry, they're off topic, threw me off course. 1 second.
Sorry.
Edit this. Okay, anyway. Drax the Destroyer. Probably my second favorite character in the film. Probably... the bluntness has returned in every single fashion you can think of.
It's really good.
And not to mention the fact that the actor would spend about 6 hours a day putting that freaking makeup on. I have a point on this regard. Nova, I believe her name is, played by Karen Gillan. Surprisingly, very deep character this time around. The last time I kind of felt that she was like, I guess you could say I felt... Yeah, kind of like she didn't really stand out in the previous film that much. But this time around, there was quite an arc to her. I don't think it contributed as much to the further story in this film, and I will say no more on that regard. But I think that she definitely has a bigger place in the rest of the universe. Also, I feel Dave Batista.
Dave Bautista.
Okay, all right. But I also feel the need to point out the fact that Karen McGillian has shaved your head twice for these films. These,
Dedication. Not even using a bald cap.
yep, like these people. What I wanted to bring up with at least these two actors in particular, I don't know what kind of other struggles the other actors have made on this regard, is the fact that every single person who worked on this film was basically willing to do whatever they had to do to make a fantastic film, and I gotta respect that. Let me just, and I'll just say this much: there is a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Mostly tears of laughter, but tears nonetheless.
Yeah.
That were poured into this film, and you would and honestly, I think that this is one of the one of the best entries into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Now, keep in mind, we're not saying that there was blood in the movie. Yeah, no, not really. There was some, but not a lot.
Nothing
Not-
to go ahead.
Not like horror movie amounts of blood, but like,
And not Quentin Tarantino levels.
yeah.
On a scale of 1 to
Quentin Tarantino.
on a scale of on a scale of 1 to Quentin Tarantino, the amount of blood we have in this film is I would honestly say a rated E10 plus out of 10.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right. I mean, it's not
It's no worse.
it's not for everyone. I mean, you don't want to show your 6-year-old it, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. It's a great movie. 6-year-olds would probably love it.
Well, with some of the things they say,
Again, parent discretion advised.
yes.
I give this a very solid PG. Very solid PG.
Or even PG-13, depending on
Yeah.
how you feel.
It really depends on how you've talked to your children. If there's anybody out there who has children, you definitely want to make sure that you know what movie you're bringing them to, because they do say certain words in here.
Yeah. Okay, so, you got more points on the non-spoiler section, Tim?
Nope. All I gotta say is that parental guidance aside, I would definitely call this perhaps the greatest. Well, not the greatest, but one of the best entries into the MCU ever made.
Agreed. Hunter?
Okay, so in this movie, going on with the characters again, what I love about what they did with the characters is, you know, they're the characters from the first movie. They didn't change pretty much anything about them. Where sometimes you'll see one character will be missing a trait from one of the movies, or they'll be almost completely different to begin with. And you're like, what? Why? Why? But here, none of that. None. And that's great. Because then you know your characters. You know how they're going to act. You know their pushing points. Everything. So you know what to expect, and it just makes the movie great. Or even better. And then another thing... Oop.
Make the MCU great again. It'll be great.
What, it wasn't great to begin with?
Some people do have some mixed reviews on some of the other videos.
It's great because I said it's great.
It was incredible.
It's just the best. Just trust me.
Don't. They're gonna stop believing us.
Oh
No!
no! It's too easy.
Yeah. Another thing that I really, really love about this movie is the connections. Not a lot of superhero movies or movies out here that are out in general nowadays are going to have connections and morals that this movie has. You're really going to see family ties, friendships, and just there's going to be emotions. The feels. But
Sure.
I'm only laughing because one of your little ringtones thing is shut up phone emotions.
yes, I have a Markiplier ringtone that says "Not now, phone, emotions," and then screams. It works for every occasion, I swear.
And it cracks everyone up every time it happens.
Oh yeah. Anyways,
Anyway.
hopefully I didn't just swipe you with my hair.
That's fine if you do. Ratings
that's
will go through the roof.
But okay, the connections are not just in big globs in the movie. They're gonna be solid throughout. it's going to be kind of there, so you have to kind of search for it. But then there's times where it's going to be pretty strong, and you'll know it's there. I think that really helps tie everything together, because then you understand the characters more, and you're able to really see this movie in a different perspective. And it's gonna hit you. Oh, it's gonna hit you. I won't tell you where, but it's gonna get you.
It's gonna hit you like a train.
Unless you're an unfeeling, soulless cretin.
Which, I don't think much of y'all are. So that's good.
Everyone on the other side of that camera is great.
Yes.
Believe in you. Believe it! No. Anyway.
And then...
Yeah, I had to. It just came up.
But, yeah. And then... Yeah. I mean, yeah. And then... Oh, man. Just emotions. You're gonna be laughing. You're gonna be crying. Or if you're strong, you're just gonna be holding it in. You're gonna be completely, like, jaw-dropped at certain points. They do not hold back. And I gotta say, this is... when you have sequels, usually they flop. This doesn't flop. Oh man, does this not flop. The first one was great. But the second one, it's gonna hook you in. If you really do like Marvel movies and you like having that comedy, but you also like having those moments where you're able to say, I know that. I've been through something like that. You're gonna really love this movie. And if you don't, that's okay. Everyone's different. But I highly, highly recommend you see this movie. Bring a friend. Bring a family member. Go by yourself. Whatever floats your goat. It's just a really great movie. So, yep.
So is that floating goat in sheep's milk or something? Making that... What was that cheese that we heard earlier?
Oh, we were watching a show. One of the shows I like. I don't know if I can say it or not. But...
don't want to get too off topic.
Yeah. But, yeah, it was, Feta? Feta cheese. Feta cheese. Anyways.
Anyway. So, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. My non-spoiler section here. I've got to say... There's very little words for me to actually say. These guys brought up really good points here. There are points in times that you'll love it. There are points in times that be like, oh, you. And points in times that you just be like, I need to see that again. Where's round 2? Mm-hmm. But overall, it's a great movie. There's very little involved in terms of flaws. We could do some nitpicks here and there and a little bit of critiques, but honestly, they did great. So good job, guys. Good job. Spoilers? No?
Yes.
Spoilers!
He's been excited for this part the whole time.
Because it's hard to talk about the movie without the spoilers. Oh my gosh.
It's like, basically, if we tried to go into, if we tried to say, hey, this isn't a spoiler, fun fact, everything that happens in this movie is very relevant to itself.
Yeah.
Like, every reference, every line is relevant to another part of the movie, essentially. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no throwaway in this film, which is ridiculous.
Exactly. Now, you will probably hear out there, I have heard these reviews, where the movie in its entirety feels like a throwaway movie for the MCU in general, because what you see in the other films, all the tie-ins to the Infinity Stones, even the slightest minute amount, this doesn't have that. So if you're there to try to expand upon what's going on in the Infinity War, you're not exactly going to get that. You're going to kind of get the offhanded version, because the way Guardians of the Galaxy works is that they're dealing with the Thanos portion of it. So all the references they do is with Thanos. Mm-hmm. And that's going to lead into the Infinity War and how they get involved with it, which I'm really looking forward to.
And Yeah, that's one other thing about it. It's like I wouldn't necessarily call this a throwaway film on account of the fact that it definitely does build some ties to what's coming next. Although, granted, I don't think that criticism is entirely irrelevant, considering the fact that the Guardians are so difficult to tie back with what's happening in the rest of the films anyway, because they're so these guys, they're 75 jumps out.
Yeah, they are out in the galaxy where everything else that's happening in the MCU is primarily going on Earth or in Asgard. So the next time you see them, and possibly Doctor Strange, and definitely the Incredible Hulk, could be in Thor, where that's where the whole groups tie in together, and leading to the Infinity War again.
Yeah.
All right.
And then,
go ahead.
sorry, the new movie for Thor is Ragnarok.
Yes.
If you haven't seen the trailers for that yet, go see it.
Oh, hold on.
Extremely funny.
No. Put it down. Put it down there. Put it back down. It's too heavy. Wait. I can link it in the description below, but I am not going to show it on my screen.
Yeah. I believe there was 2 or 3 that were released.
3 Thor trailers?
Yeah.
Just one. For
Was
Thor.
it just one? I thought there was 2.
No, it's just that thing's so dense. Anyway, go.
Oh,
Back to Guardians of the Galaxy review. Spoilers alert. Beginning of the movie. Just adorable. You have... Okay, so the first part they have... I know you missed a little bit before Groot dancing, which is just the cutest thing ever.
Oh my gosh.
But the whole setup was a interdimensional beast that feasts upon energy was eating the batteries of the, what was it, Kree specialists?
No,
Golden Krees.
Just these golden beings.
Golden beings. They're like...
They were Krees. I remember that.
They're not Kree. Kree are blue.
No, this was the special Kree. It's like a faction of the Kree that
Really?
genetically modified themselves.
Oh,
Yeah.
So these are fabulous Kree. Fat
Yes,
Kree.
fabulous Kree.
Fabulous Kree. That's what we're gonna call them from now on. Like I don't even care what their actual name is now.
So, what they were doing is, for a specific reward, protecting the batteries from this beast.
Okay, but wait. Does that mean they're Fab Creeless?
We're gonna keep that. We're gonna keep that. We're gonna keep that.
Fab Creeless.
Here. Hold on. So this is the name of it. Yes, I'm gonna make your word.
Stop it. Okay.
You make him work so hard.
Yes.
Stop it.
So,
Give him a break.
with that, there was a great startup joke where Rocket Raccoon asked Drax where his flight suit was. And Drax was like, I left it behind. It hurts my nipples. It's just like, in and of itself, it's hilarious. But then later on, they just bring the joke back as Star-Lord slaps his own flight pack on Drax, and it goes on him. He's like, as he's flying away, my nipple!
Oh my
that
gosh.
was great.
Yes, that is so funny.
Again,
He says-
spoilers. So it's funny.
He just has the greatest lines in this movie. Like, he didn't have too many the last movie. This one, they definitely took that and ran with it. They gave him so many amazing lines.
No, none of those lines went over his head.
None.
None of them.
None.
None of them.
None.
You're ugly. Don't worry, that's a good thing. It means if he still loves you, that he truly loves you for who you are, not because you're just ugly.
Yeah. It's something like that. And then
Yeah.
I really liked what he said in that part too, because then he said, beautiful people can't trust others.
You can't trust beautiful people.
Yeah, you can't trust beautiful people. Which is kind of true nowadays, because the most beautiful of people can be the most ugliest on the inside.
Yeah, it's definitely society has become a little more focused on their image with selfies, with media attention, with all that. If you got a bad image, well, you're not popular, or you are the most popular person out there because of your bad image. You'll get so many references out there.
Yep.
This has been Philosophy Hour with Hunter and Nace. Coming up, we will be delving into the works of Bach and Beethoven, so that we may determine what their entire purpose is on the NPR, and why am I still at this job? Why are you letting me continue this joke?
One thing I find actually hilarious right now, we're all leaning.
Are we?
Are we?
Don't you see the screen over there? We're just kind of like,
Oh,
nah.
I'm kind of slouching. I don't know if I'm leaning.
I don't know.
But can you believe I'm dating this guy?
Oh, he's pretty charming in his own way.
Yeah, I suppose.
He flounders about a bit,
Yes.
carping it up. But, like that monster that was there, that was absolutely gorgeous with the rainbows that it was shooting out of its mouth.
Oh yeah, that's right. It shot rainbows.
I know! It was
Like,
great!
It was like a gaseous rainbow. It wasn't like water
It
droplet
was
rainbow.
like fire rainbow.
It's a good thing that
Yeah, more like that. Like that was pretty cool.
it's a good thing to see that the tentacle beast from Rogue One finally found a role that he could truly shine in.
Yeah, and die.
Mainly because
There's a cut on its neck.
it's like now
Let's not give away too many spoilers.
Oh, but this is the whole point of the spoiler. Everyone's seen it already.
That's true. Or if nobody wants to see it and they want to hear something from another person's
Exactly.
mouth, then-
if you don't want to see
Yeah.
this, how dare you?
Yeah, like-
That's totally worth the however much dollars it is for the movie ticket.
Hold on, let me put up. Let's put up some
I'm
dollar.
not putting up any dollars.
No.
We're putting
I'll put up
some
maybe a
dollars.
dollar sign here. Boom. There. Anyway, the big fight was just gorgeous, but what I loved most about the fight is that it took a back seat to the credits and Groot dancing with the credits.
Mm-hmm.
That's what sold the beginning to me. It's like it's saying this is not about all the action. This is not about the super heroics. This is about what you can do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And the little guy just runs around and beats himself. It was you remember the Dancing Baby from the 90s, right? Dancing Groot. That's where it's at.
Dancing Groot, far less creepy.
Big time.
I mean, he is a bebe, so
Yeah, and he actually has very little in terms of speaking lines this time around. He's more just emotions and nodding, and you actually know exactly how he's feeling, and they portray it so well.
I need to look up who
Yeah.
animated him, by the way, because I need
Yeah.
to give a personal shout out to the man who animated Baby Groot.
I'm sure it was more than just one.
yeah.
Well, all the same.
Congratulations, Marvel, Disney, and whatever other studio was there. I'm not sure.
That reminds me, if Disney did have a part in this, I'm surprised with some of the words they put in.
Well, it's a Disney film, yeah. I mean, it's moneyed by Disney, but it's produced by Marvel.
That's true.
But
But wouldn't Disney have a say with what certain things were put in?
Well, I mean, it's PG-13, and they did... okay. They did actually control a lot of their language.
Okay.
Remember the part with Groot going, "I am Groot." It's like, he says, "Welcome to the frickin' Guardians of the Galaxy." Only he didn't say frickin'.
Yep, that's true.
That was...
Yeah,
Uh,
that was cute. I did like that one. That
and then-
made that part a lot better.
And then as they were flying away, it's like, we're going to have a
to
talk about your
your
language.
language.
And that kind of brings back to their Captain America's the Civil War thing. Or was it Avengers? Where Captain America's like, language.
Yep. And then I remember seeing something on Tumblr where it was two gifs of Captain America. One from when he first started off and one from later on in the movie series that they had.
Yeah.
Where he was like, son of a gun. And then the other ones, he said son of a bee.
Well,
Biatch.
I mean, the time jump can affect you as long as you're immersed in the culture. You will change your behavior to help match yourself towards everyone else. Otherwise, you will be ostracized.
Yep, that was character development.
Exactly. Character development.
Character development. Oh, there is some character development in this film. Go ahead.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Let me put it this way. So, she was saying just a little bit ago that they don't change the characters too much. Whatever changes there were made were all natural and were all very much justified in everything that they did. And by the way, for those of you who are of a certain mindset that have boats in their heads of going along. You said you were going to edit anything in. Okay.
I'm not editing anything in. I'm just putting an imaginary boat right here.
But boats in their heads involving two fictional characters.
Oh, ships. Like, okay. You could have just said that.
You could have just said that. Wow.
I wanted to...
I was completely lost.
Same here. At least
Star vehicles might have been a little bit more obvious.
Starships?
Starships. There you go.
Starships.
Starships, yes.
Yes.
But those of you who are interested in such things, there is a certain relationship between a green lady and a man who knows how to dance, and it is as teasing as ever.
Yeah, no, they blatantly state out at how teasing it is, and that the reason why they do it.
Just kiss.
Now kiss.
Yes, the assassin that doesn't that's still trying to develop her connections.
Yeah.
But going on from the beginning, because we're gonna be. I'm sorry that we're jumping around so much with this. It was too good. But from that part, we were introduced to the classic Rocket Raccoon theft, and that actually sets up so well towards the end of the movie. And they bring all these elements at the beginning. They're just like, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
To the very end, it's like, well, thank God you did that.
Yeah.
He stole the batteries, which is what they were trying to help prevent, and the reward that they got was Nova.
Yep.
Who has a bounty on her head.
You know, I'm gonna make sure that we're saying this character's name correctly. Otherwise, there might be a flame war. Hold on a second.
I thought they even called her Nova in
I'm
the
pretty
movie.
sure they called her Nova.
Unless you're talking about another one.
I'm trying to remember what the green lady was. It was Glamora or something like
Gamora.
that. Gamora.
Gamora. I know that because she's my favorite character.
Fair due. Let's see here.
While you guys are on your phones, I'll talk.
Chris.
But
yeah, Gamora.
If you've seen the first movie, you know that Gamora and Nova served Thanos.
We screwed up. It's Nebula.
Nebula. Oh, not Nova.
It's Nebula, guys.
Well, I'm gonna call her Nova. No, that's
no.
Nova's
Nova's actually another character.
Yeah. Now that we know her name, Nebula.
But Nebula and Gamora served Thanos
as adopted sisters. And throughout this movie, basically Nebula was out to kill Gamora. And vice versa.
Well,
kind of.
Yeah, kind of. But later on, they get to a standing point where Gamora treats her like a sister. And
because that's all Nebula ever wanted.
Exactly.
Because they get to the height of a battle with each other, which was pretty epic.
Gamora is strong, so strong.
Actually, since this is a spoiler version, Gamora is being attacked by Nebula
in a ship.
Nebula was shooting at her with the freaking spaceship. It's just like, how are you missing?
And then she drives into this cave to get to Gamora.
That's how obsessed she was.
Crashes the ship. The ship gets on fire. She's stuck. Gamora then takes one of the guns that breaks off of the ship, picks it up, puts it on her shoulder,
rewires
it, and shoots while screaming.
It wasn't just
at her sister.
It was like a machine gun. It was
Type,
just
yeah.
it was. Oh my god.
Freaking just
For the space nerds among you, think a mass driver. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's good at that kind of terminology.
A rapid fire mass driver with, and not just any mass driver, like the sort of, I'm trying to think of a good example.
I'm not good with those kinds of things.
But anyways, yeah, that happens, and then she ends up saving her from that crash after she shoots the heck out of it, and then they start fighting again. And they talk about stuff that happened when they were still controlled by Thanos, this is a key thing,
He pitted them against each other.
until one of them beat the other.
And Gamora always came up on top.
So what happened was Thanos would take Nebula and replace her body parts with machines. So her eyes, her arms, bones,
Brain.
her brain even, so that she would match Gamora.
Yeah, it's basically cybernetically enhancing Nebula to face off against Gamora. And Gamora was only fighting for survival,
Yep,
came out on top, but Nebula wanted a sister.
yep.
And so at the end of that battle, after Nebula was saved, Nebula still tries to kill her, and then she, right before stabbing her, had that moment where it's like, finally I bested you. It's like, I saved you!
Yep. She only wanted to show that she was equal to Gamora. All those years of all the pain and suffering and torture she had to go through,
She wanted a sister. That's all she wanted.
she wanted a sister, and she wanted to be equal. She didn't want to feel inferior
Yeah,
anymore.
well, she didn't like being treated as if she was nothing. And
Exactly.
And it really came to a head at that moment, and I think she kind of like semi-joined the Guardians at that point.
Yeah. And I really wish she would have stayed with them, but at the end, she left because she had so much desire, so much of a fire burning
To kill
for-
Thanos.
to kill Thanos and get her revenge.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Good luck.
Yeah.
We'll be lucky to see her in the next time we see Thanos.
Yeah. Hopefully we do, because she's the one that we need to have more character development for. I
Yeah.
want to see character development for her character. She is such a great character. She has so much potential. She has so much of a fire. She's just I need to see more of her.
Now, so we talked about Drax, and he had a really touching moment with a new character, Mantis,
Yes.
where he's looking at a pool of water and remembering his
Daughter.
Yeah, and then you can tell because Mantis, the new character, is an empath. So she can read emotions, or she telepathically know about emotions, but
Yep.
she has to touch the person.
Yeah.
And just by the look on her face, she started crying. You could tell that Drax, who had this stone face,
Yep, he was just stone
he
faced.
was in tears on the inside. He was breaking up.
You could see it in his eyes. He is such a strong character, and he knows to hold it back. He even said he's from a race that is built for war.
Yeah.
He was built for war, so he was built to hide his emotions from his enemies. You could see it there, through his eyes, that there was pain, which is great, because you don't have to have words. You don't have to have facial expressions to see that stuff. That's what makes another great character. That's how you know they've been through so much.
Yeah.
That they've been able to train themselves to resist certain emotions.
But the dynamic between Mantis and Drax throughout this whole movie was probably some of the best moments where he calls her ugly.
Yes.
And she's like, what? Oh, why would you say such a thing? It's like, oh no, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because because Ego loves you so much.
He sees you for who you are.
Yeah, rather than just a pretty face. So that means you know you're loved.
Yeah.
which, by the way, Drax has horrible taste, but whatever.
Yeah. And,
No.
Oh, and then the time when she comes into his bedroom to try to wake him up to tell him what he needed to be told,
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
and he's just like,
And then
I'm
she-
imagining you and I physically making contact.
Yep.
It's just like, what?
Now, I can see near the end of this movie when he's carrying her to safety that a lot of people are like, oh, shipping. But
Nah.
for me, no. It's father and daughter.
Yeah, I feel it's a lot stronger of a father-daughter kind of relationship between the two.
Especially after that pond scene.
Oh, God, yeah.
He said her innocence reminded him of his daughter. So, if it reminds him of his daughter, you know it's going to be a father-daughter relationship, and I hope that grows as well.
Yeah.
Because that could be such a strong bond.
Yep. And then she becomes a guardian as well at the end.
Exactly. And she has some really... Her powers are really unique. I haven't seen anybody like that before.
Yeah, okay. So, General Gist, I know you guys know what it is. She's an empath that can also modify a person's emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So she can put people to sleep with her ability.
Mm-hmm.
She can calm people down if they're
Yeah.
too hysterical, etc., etc. She'd be a great addition to really society in general. And a mass panic occurs, and she comes around and touches everyone to calm them down.
Or even using her powers to get information out of people.
Yeah, exactly. Become compliant. That was another thing she said she could do.
Yeah.
Didn't showcase it, but
No. She
Yeah.
didn't really have to in this one.
yeah.
That just means she has time in other movies to show that.
I also have the distinct feeling that Mantis. I also have the distinct feeling that Mantis herself has a lot more to offer the entire MCU as a whole. Like,
Yeah.
I honestly think that she's going to be pretty instrumental in making sure that the Avengers and the Guardians don't kill each other.
I would not be surprised. Because I know I've seen her in the comics before. I just don't know much about her, because I haven't read much of Guardians of the Galaxy as a series. So I think that's why I'm enjoying this so much, because I don't have much of a base knowledge of it.
Yep. And I'm kind of the odd one out because I haven't really read the comics yet. I've probably read one of the Spider-Man comics and maybe a few other ones.
Well, it's
But
probably for your benefit with these movies, they haven't read the series.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I know a lot about Iron Man, and when they showed the Mandarin, I got a little ticked off about that, because it's like the Mandarin's supposed to be one of the biggest, baddest villains for Iron Man, and they squander it like that. But Guardians, they don't do that with this, and it was a mwah. It was good.
yeah, and then in both the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, you have very strong, very
Headstrong personalities.
for their big bads, their enemies.
Oh, well, yeah, there's that too. They're threatening the entirety of the galaxy.
Yep. And I don't remember if they had multiple enemies in the first one.
The first one, technically, yes. They had Thanos and his daughters, Gamora and Nebula.
Yeah.
And then you had Ronan. Those were your big baddies in that movie.
Okay, so you had the big major one, which was Thanos, and
Yeah.
then Ronan.
Yeah.
In this one, they had the Golden People, the Fab Krila.
The Fab Krila.
Yep. The Fab
The
Krila.
Supreme Kree is what they call themselves, I
Yeah.
think it was.
And I love how I made up that word, and now I can't even say it.
Fab
But you-
Krila.
Fab Krilis. Fab Krilis. There we go.
Yeah.
So you have these guys, and then you have Ego. So you have the secondary enemies, and then you have the main enemy, who pretty much is the main focus,
let's
but
not-
these guys also make it.
Let's not forget about the Ravagers. They were also an
Yes.
antagonistic force.
Yep. But they didn't really do as much as...
Taserface! We'll get back to him.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so going
yeah.
on with the main characters, first and foremost. So we talked about Gamora and Nebula. We talked about Drax and Mantis. So next, let's go on to Rocket Raccoon.
Yes.
Such a big development for him. He's the one character to me that I question, why is he actually with this group still? I mean, I understand it's probably the only group that'll accept him, but it's more, you see him in the first movie, and he's kind of like a bounty hunter that hangs out with Groot to make a quick buck off of people's bounties. And then you have, and then in this movie, now that they are friends, it's like, why is he sticking around? Well, he doesn't have to.
He chooses to.
He chooses to because he's accepted by them. And a lot of the stuff he does, I mean, he even is questioning why he's doing it a lot himself until he realizes he has his place in the group.
Pretty much, yeah. If I dare say, his character line skyrocketed. He's a very temperamental trash panda. I loved that part so much. I can't look at him the same way.
That's what I'm gonna call everybody from now on.
You're
Trash
just a
panda.
raccoon.
Trash panda.
Hey, how dare you call me a raccoon? Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Not a raccoon. You're a trash panda. Hey, what? Is that worse than a raccoon? I don't know. Oh, it's much worse. Oh my.
Yep. But in this one, he definitely does struggle with the other characters because he wants to feel and look like he's the best of them all. He wants to be the one that everyone looks to.
He struggles with the other characters because the way I see it, he doesn't want to be hurt.
That
So
too.
he even admits himself he's a professional asshole.
Yep. I mean, look at the asteroid part where he fought with Star-Lord
Yeah, no.
for the control of the ship because he was, in his words, genetically engineered to be a pilot.
Pilot, yeah. And he doesn't want to experience a lot of the loss he's experienced in the past.
Yeah.
Which, if you watch the TV series, you'll be able to see a little more of that.
Yep.
But in terms of the movie, there's not much expanded upon that. But he tries to push everyone
I keep
away.
yawning.
Well, it is late at night.
It is true.
But he keeps trying to push everyone away, even if it's unintentional. And then he realizes why he's doing it with his interactions with Yondu. Where Yondu basically explains to Rocket why he's acting the way he is in a way, because he understands. And Rocket's like, and so Rocket finally figures out his place and his reason for being with the group still, and still trying to be friends with them.
Yeah.
It's because they're family, and that was probably the biggest message of this whole movie.
Yeah.
Is the Guardians of the Galaxy are family.
Yep. You don't have to be blood related to be a family. I mean, look at these two nerds. I'm with them. They're not blood related to me, and they're my family.
Well, yeah. Tim, any thoughts on Rocket?
Well, I'm gonna say this much. Bradley Cooper, damn good actor. This guy, you know, you approach like he's kind of a very big name in Hollywood, right? Like he's pretty well known.
I'm terrible with stars. So.
Well, I mean, like
Same.
I haven't seen as much of his work, honestly, but I know that he's pretty big name in Hollywood. This is one of the instances where I think that this is how they approached him with the character. It's like, we want you to play a kind of a man who pushes everybody away. He's a genius. He's a pilot, and he's constantly trying to push everyone away. He's constantly trying to. Okay, can I get some more details? Yeah. Also, he's a raccoon. Do you want the job? And
I'd be like, sold.
I think they also probably push a little bit, and he has to be an asshole.
it's like, and I don't know what they did to get this guy on, to get him on this end, but he is he's definitely the best portrayal of Rocket Raccoon out of the two portrayals that I've seen.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I'm very glad that they didn't give him the Cockney accent, honestly, because he's supposed to have a Cockney accent in the comics.
Oh.
Really?
Yep.
No, I like the New Yorker, New Jersey kind of
It definitely
rough and tumble accent.
It definitely fits him. I definitely like how in the movie it shows him again where he doesn't really feel like he fits in completely with the group, and yet he stays with them because he wants to figure it out, but he doesn't want everyone to know about it, and he fights with them because of that.
Yeah.
Because of his inner struggles. And near the end, he does find someone who understands, and that's when it clicks for him. Because he finally has someone who knows what he's going through and what he has been through.
Yep.
And
Who realized what they were initially, and it had to explain it to him face value.
exactly. Because he's been around all these people who have their own struggles that he hadn't really had the time to look at his own without feeling like he was taking up everyone else's space.
Yeah.
So he just built his walls around his feelings and everything. And Mary Poppins.
Oh, that was the line that we heard the entire room laugh.
Yes.
It was the best thing. So,
But before we get to that,
oh man.
hold on.
Oh yeah, we're not on Yondu yet.
Yeah. Handu.
Yondu.
Yondu. Sorry. My brain is breaking. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Okay.
Yondu broke those walls. He broke them.
So hard.
So hard. Those are the two that connect. And I feel so bad for Rocket because the only person he was able to connect to.
We'll get to that
Yes.
when we talk about Yondu, but
Yes.
we're still on the initial Guardians.
Yep.
Who do you think? Star-Lord or Groot?
On it, we can get Groot out of the way really quick.
All right.
I am Groot.
Groot was
I am
phenomenal.
I am Groot. I am
He
Groot.
had so little speaking lines, yet he stole the show a lot of the time, especially at the beginning.
Like,
Oh, God,
okay,
yes.
I'm gonna tell you the guys this much. There's not a whole lot in the way of character development for Groot, other than the fact that he is adorable.
He did have that one breakthrough moment when they needed him most.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the after credits version.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I don't think you
I-
can get much more character development than that.
Let's not actually spoil that one because I want people to see that for themselves.
I know. I'm just saying that's a character development all in of its own.
Yes.
Star-Lord even has a character development moment with that after scenes credit, but that's the last after scenes credit, all the way at the back of it. So
Yeah.
stay for well after the movie.
There's like 3 or 4 after credit things.
Yeah, God, it's great.
I'm imagining it was all because they, the cast kind of snuck on set one evening and said, "Hey guys, let's just film some things." It's like,
Probably.
Dave, I need you behind the camera, please.
And, well, you
I'd do
had
that.
2 cameos of Howard the Duck again.
Yep.
God, Howard.
They're actually, with the couple of lines they've given him, I'm not minding it so much so far.
Yeah.
And they had Cosmo the space dog.
Cosmo.
Yep.
Yes.
That was
But
cute.
again, that's the credits. He's only there once.
Same with Stanley, as per usual.
They gave Stanley such a great role. He appears twice in this movie.
Yep.
And the Watchers are in both of his renditions.
It confirms the fan theory.
Okay. So, Groot was an adorable little doll. But then we got Star-Lord. Star-Lord had... They remember at the end of the first movie, if you've seen it at all, where they said that he has another genealogy. This whole movie is about that.
Yep.
And they expand upon it by basically saying he's the son of a planet.
If we wanted to be a little bit more poetic about it, basically a god with a small g.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and he was the only child of the thousands of children that he had from multiple species across the universe. Star-Lord was the only one that had the gene activate in his system.
So he could make light.
Well, he could make anything by using the light.
Yeah.
He could manipulate matter. And so, Ego, for all you Marvel fans out there that know Ego, he is the big personality of the movie. The big bad.
I would just like to point out the fact, like I said earlier, that I don't know if this was the one that made it on, but Ego is very, very much the best villain that the MCU has ever had. Even, in my opinion, trumping that handsome face of Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Ego lived up to his name up until he blew up. He was all about himself, and the whole major threat was that he was going to expand himself by consuming, essentially, all other worlds, making all those other worlds him. And it's like... So the Guardians of the Galaxy had to protect the galaxy by killing Star-Lord's dad.
And it's worth noting that they managed to make this villain the mortal enemy of pretty much everybody involved
Yeah.
in that way.
Like,
Yeah.
you were so excited that he finally found his bloodline father, but as it kept going on, you were like, something's off. Something's not right.
Yeah, and then that one line right when you realize he's the big bad guy, and Star-Lord realizes he's the big bad guy at that point, with the father's comment about Star-Lord's mom.
Now,
I'm not going to spoil that one. I want you
Yeah.
guys to figure out what that one is on your
Yeah.
own.
He said that he loved his mother the most, and it was the hardest for him to leave her.
Yeah.
And he also had Star-Lord under his control at that point.
Yeah.
So,
But
what
Star-Lord
he said
could hear everything still.
he understood everything. So when he said what he did, or what he said,
Yeah.
he snapped right out of it quick.
Yeah.
Let's just put it this way. I have never seen Chris Pratt actually more angry.
Yeah.
Like, I think that it's almost as if they proceeded to tell him, hey, it's almost as if they proceeded to tell him, hey, they're making another Transformers film, and then he just snapped.
Okay. To get it out of the way, these two don't entirely enjoy the Transformers films.
Well,
Because
the live
they-
action ones.
The live action ones, because they're huge fans of the original material.
Well,
That, well, at least Haunter is.
I was saying that I was making that a joke because he's a massive 80s fan.
anyways. Anyways.
Well, I took that completely off. I am thinking that. Yeah, but Ego was so well done. I mean, you had the cameo of David Hasselhoff in there.
Yep.
You had who played Ego again?
I don't remember.
He's a big name actor, and as I said, I am absolutely atrocious with names.
Well, this guy, you could tell by his name that he is obviously just not good. No good. No. But not only does his name give it off, just the way he pronounces himself, the way he shows himself. You could tell his intentions were good at one point, but he got the better of himself. And it really shows. And I'm so glad that he was the enemy for this one, because it just works so well. You're taking development plots for the characters and you're building them even stronger than they were before. And it just makes it a lot more thrilling and a lot more exciting. And I really liked a lot of the fighting scenes because they did some pretty cool things in there. And there's some references in this that just when it gets really to the like edge of your seat thrilling, it'll just make you fall backwards and laugh. Star-Lord makes a reference about Pac-Man.
Don't spoil too much. No, yeah, it makes a reference about Pac-Man that was
Really funny.
actually, this is the spoiler part. So yeah, he turns into Pac-Man. It was great.
They put a bunch of rocks together and they go to punch each other, Ego and Star-Lord, and his dad has like made himself out of big rocks, and then there's them waka 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 waka, and it was just funny. It was great. And then if you didn't figure it out by now by what we said earlier about learning about what Ego was actually having for his intentions, Gamora was the first one to know something was wrong. So you have that kind of cliche thing that a lot of other movies had, that you'll see, where Star-Lord finally finds his dad. Everything's becoming perfect. He's figured out that he's half human, half, I guess, demigod?
Half god, a celestial.
Half god. Yeah, half celestial is what they
Kurt
call it.
Russell, that's who played him.
Kurt Russell. So, you have this celestial, and then his son, who's half celestial, half human. Gamora starts to think, something's not right here. This is too perfect.
Yeah.
So you have that kind of plot that's you've seen everywhere else. You're not really going to get around it. If that's what they have to use, that's what they use. I mean, everything under the sun's been done for movies, but it works so well because Gamora is pretty much the smart one of the group.
Yeah. Okay, so we're trying to speed things along here.
Yes.
So Star-Lord, his father's Ego, and you have that connection building, but now the real tearjerker. Yondu. Yondu was brought back as a major character, and he becomes a Guardian in this movie, and he gets betrayed by his own members, namely Taserface, who, God, throughout the whole movie, I know you've seen this, if you've seen it, he just brings so much laughter to the screen because of Rocket Raccoon. Just, you just now imagine Taserface looking into the mirror, thinking in the morning, going, you know what I think would be a really badass name? Taserface! And everyone just cracks up laughing.
Oh, that's great. And then there's that part where he's dying and he calls the people out.
I know.
And then he goes, just remember to tell them who brought them in.
We're talking about Taserface. So Taserface is... the ship's blowing up all around him, and he's talking to the Kree, the Fabla Kree, and he basically says that there's coordinates for the ship that he's giving to them, and I just wanted them to remember that my name, Taserface. And then he just cracks up on it. Like, oh, you gotta be.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was great.
Now I found some of the fandom wikia. Ego's aliases: The Living Planet, Angel,
Angel,
Jackass, Spaceman. Little Man.
Little Man.
Little 1-Inch Man.
Oh, yeah.
David Hasselhoff. The Alien. The Sea.
Oh, The Sea. Now that... You know that these movies have a lot to do with their music as well. The music is tied in with these movies.
Big time.
If it didn't have the music tied in, it wouldn't be the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Yeah.
Now, remember to pay attention to the music in this, because it really does kind of sew itself in.
Yep.
And it's also just great music. I mean, how could you hate it? So, yeah. But
back to Yondu.
um
Oh man, so Yondu gets betrayed by Taserface. He and Rocket Raccoon get locked up. Groot becomes a mascot to the Ravagers.
yeah.
Yondu gets kicked out of the Ravagers in general because he betrayed the code by dealing with trafficking kids.
Yep.
And so due to that betrayal, he ends up getting a mutiny to occur. All the people that were loyal to him end up getting shot out of an airlock.
And dying in space.
And dying in space, except one who kind of started the idea of the mutiny. So he wasn't really thought about. And I love that character. What was his name again?
We don't know.
It
I don't
said
think
his
we know.
name. It said his name
times,
a few
yeah.
times, but I can't remember his name. But he was great. I love
Yes.
that character.
I hope we see more of him too, because it would be really awesome to have him in there, especially since what happens at the end. with
Right.
Yano.
So,
I keep
Yondu.
saying Yondu. There we go.
So with Yondu, Yondu ends up freeing himself with Rocket Raccoon, going to Ego's planet, thanks to Rocket Raccoon. And a great line here. It's like, a mammalian species can only handle 50 jumps before getting physically sick. And Rocket Raccoon's like, yeah, so? And he's like, you just made us go, you just set a course for 700 jumps. And when he first said that, I was like, 700?
Yeah, I know, right? And then that is going to be one of the goofiest parts you're going to see. Like, it's going to make you go like,
Yeah, you know those air tunnel scenes in movies where dogs probably going, "Ah." Imagine that, but a lot more hilarious.
oh yeah, because then their faces are bulging and stuff, like they're warping a bit as they're going through all of these jumps. It's really funny.
Yeah.
It's like if you were at your house watching this, it'd be like one of those moments where you're so embarrassed for the characters that you kind of just walk out of the room until that scene kind of goes to a different scene, and then go back and watch the rest. I know I did that with a few other movies I have that I really like. It's just, I don't know, I do that. I don't know if anybody else does that, but I know I do. But
I
yeah.
have to pause and just let it sink in. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Yondu ends up going to Ego, and he says, we're about to fight a planet. And that's when everyone realizes Ego essentially... I'm talking about the cast. Everyone else knew that Ego was the planet about that point. But that's when the cast knew Ego is the planet. He's not just a person. And with that, they proceed to try to go and they rescue Quill and everyone else and try to kill the Celestial. But that's when it all comes to a head with the Fablicree as they come in. A lot of hilarious things. The biggest meme of the whole movie with Rocket Raccoon sitting down talking to Groot and Star-Lord in the background talking to them saying, what's the holdup? Was just well done.
Yeah. It was the part that was in the
trailer.
The
trailers about the button thing where it's like, I am Groot, yes, I am Groot, yes, I am Groot.
No! That's the button that will kill us instantly!
Instantly, yeah.
And
Right,
the
I
other
thought it
button was
kill
to
us
set
all,
it.
but-
Oh, they'll kill us all. Because they were going to blow up the brain, or the Celestial,
The heart.
Ego. and it was going to do a chain reaction throughout the whole planet because it goes through the whole nervous system as it's blowing up. That was basically a Death Star moment. Yondu ends up helping Star-Lord escape from almost certain death.
But don't give that away either.
Oh, what?
About Janos.
Yondu.
Oh,
Yondu. Dang
no,
it!
this is spoilers. Everyone's seen it.
I know, but still. In case for the people that are still going through... Okay, fine.
No, everyone's
I'll
seen
be
it.
quiet. Okay.
So Yondu ends up rescuing Quill, and they're floating down from the exploded spaceship, and Star-Lord's
planet.
like... No, the spaceship. Star-Lord's like, you look like Mary Poppins.
Oh,
and
right.
he's like, is he cool? He's like, yeah, he's cool. Hey, y'all, I'm Mary Poppins.
No, that's not it. You said it wrong. It's I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
That was it.
I love that part
Everyone
so much.
cracked up laughing.
Oh my gosh.
It was great.
Oh my gosh. I mean, and then if you remember him having the black thing, it actually ends up getting shot off by Nebula,
And yeah,
and then he gets this new fin, which
it
I
looks like a mohawk. It's great.
I know it reminds me of like not a shark fin, but there's a fish that has kind of that same fin.
Yeah.
And I loved that. I thought he looked so awesome with that because the blue and the red kind of pop out.
And then there's the touching moment when they're all being crushed except for Quill
Yeah.
by Ego, where Quill's being used as a battery at that point again. And he says, "Boy, I don't control my arrow with my head. I control it with my heart."
Yep, and then he gets a rock in the mouth and then he's covered with rocks.
Yeah, and
But
then that's when the big epic fight between Ego and Star-Lord actually occurs, because
Yep.
realizes fight with the heart, not with your head,
yep.
to control the power.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of the most touching moments up until Rocket says to, as everyone's managed to escape by this point, Rocket gives Yondu a flight pack and a spacesuit. And he says, I only have one of each. And Yondu's like, alright, I know what to do. Just give me this moment. And that's when he was accepted as a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Or Guardians of the frickin' Galaxy. And Yondu, at the end of the battle, he gets to Quill, puts the jetpack on himself, and flies the two out. And as they're getting into the stratosphere, he puts the spacesuit on Quill, basically sacrificing himself to save Quill. And as they're flying up, he's like, Ego may have been your father, boy,
But he
but
wasn't your
he
daddy.
wasn't your daddy. And then I know they deliberately said that line that way because they didn't want to say, "'Cause I'm your daddy."
Yeah, that
Because
would
that would
have
have
been
been so bad, especially for the part that happened afterwards. He dies in space,
Yeah.
just like his crew members were shot out the airlock.
Yeah. Before he even died, though, he also said something about being proud about him being his son.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was like at that moment, Quill knew that Yondu was his dad, and they had a big Ravager funeral.
Yep, he got his funeral. They talked about how he was exiled in the beginning of the movie.
By
and how-
Sylvester Stallone. We gotta put that on. I know that actor.
But they told him he was never gonna get the funeral, the ceremony that the rest of them were gonna get
Because he betrayed the code.
because he betrayed the code. And throughout the movie, he was so devastated because he broke that code. That was the only family he knew. But then,
And then his whole crew turned on him.
yeah, well, not all of them.
Well,
Majority of them.
the majority of them turned on him, and the ones that were still loyal to him got shot out the airlock.
Yep.
Except one that was still technically loyal to him, but he was the one that kind of started the idea of the mutiny. That they didn't do anything to him, so he turned face and went back to Yondu because he's like, I didn't mean to start the mutiny, and he became such a big character. I loved him. But getting to the ending notes of this, because I know we're running out on time, and you guys have a long trip ahead of you.
Yes.
Guardians of the Galaxy has touched my heart, especially with the Yondu death. That was probably the most tear-jerking thing ever.
Oh my gosh. I held it. I did it. I got through it without bawling my eyes out. I pulled a Thrax. I did it. I held it in.
We know you're tired, Drax.
Dread. Oh my gosh. You guys have every right to yell at me for all the name mistakes I've made. I know I need to
Okay.
hand in my nerd card.
Tim, you didn't have much to say on this.
Look, honestly, I legitimately don't have much else to add.
Yeah.
It's one of those instances where I can't think of anything else to add more than anything. But yeah,
Fair enough. I have a feeling that this movie also brings in... Oh, I can't believe I forgot. The part where Ego is actually expanding as on Earth and such.
Yeah.
They show a Dairy Queen get crushed by this. And all I could think was a Team 4-Star reference. Where it's like, we're headed to Dairy Queen. Never mind.
Yep. The freaking product placement in this movie. I just,
Oh, God.
Oh
the
my gosh.
Zune.
The Zune.
Dairy Queen.
it's like it's the newest thing that they're listening to on Earth nowadays.
It's like, oh, really? It holds 300 songs. 300? Oh my gosh!
Yep.
Well, considering the guy only had cassette tapes before, I mean, that was like 5 songs per side.
I wanted to punch Ego because he broke his mixtape.
That he was
Reader,
gifted by his
or not
mom.
reader.
Yeah.
The freaking
The
mixtape.
the Walkman.
Lockman, that's what it was. He broke that with the Volume 2 mixtape in it. I'm like, fight me.
Yeah. They did everything right, I think, in this movie.
It's like there was not a single bad scene in this movie.
I really do hate to gush, but I mean, it is what it is. I can't say a fault that I can't actually put out there. And the only nitpick I do have is that I do see why some people would be a little more miffed about it, where it doesn't have any ties to the Infinity Stones, so it doesn't feel like there's going to be a tie-in to anything else. But I think that expansion of Ego on Earth probably got the attention of the Avengers and all that, so they're more aware of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but that's speculation.
Yeah.
Shield's over here like, what the...
Oh, you haven't actually been watching the Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV
I have
series.
not.
Yeah, S.H.I.E.L.D. can't really do much. They are kind of one of the most dysfunctional things at this point. They're nearly disbanded, kind of.
Wow.
Yeah, they're kind of nearly disbanded. It's more along the lines of they don't hold much power. They became completely disbanded, branded as a traitor, because they were thought as all Hydra, and then because of Captain America 2.
Well, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, but it just they're trying to rebuild, and then they get squashed down again, and then they try to rebuild, and then they get squashed down again, and it's like S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't get a break in the TV series at all. So yeah, that's probably why in all the other movies you don't see much of a S.H.I.E.L.D. presence. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah. Anyway. Oh yeah. I'm gonna give this movie a
10 out of 10.
Can never break the chain out of 10. Yes.
Never break the chain out of 10.
Never break the chain out of 10.
I could see why some people would kind of be like, on certain things. There could be, for some people, there could be too many memes. There could be too many funny parts. They could say, well, I didn't like this funny part in this serious moment. Or there could be people who are like, why would you let them say that in this movie? Like, they will say some words that are not appropriate for certain children of certain ages unless you've talked to them about it.
They're all squares. All of them. All of them are squares.
Yes. And then, with the way it ended, or just the way, like, how Star-Lord had finally gotten powers and learned how to use them, and then they were all of a sudden just taken away as soon as Ego died.
Okay, on that note,
We have an idea.
I have a theory on that matter. I think that because he has that gene still in him, sure, the initial source of his power that would essentially jumpstart his abilities and his initial control of his abilities are no longer. He could use it there, but now that it's gone, he can't use it because it needs a jumpstart. And I think that the Infinity War is going to jumpstart it, and he's going to help essentially rebuild the galaxy.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He can probably still withstand the Infinity Stone stuff.
Mm-hmm. And even then, like, it could be just like in the beginning of the Thor movie, where he had his powers taken away by his father, and he wasn't able to pick up his hammer until he learned a lesson.
Yeah, exactly. So, my final thoughts, unless you're still working on your final thoughts.
No, it was basically just saying that there's a possibility that he could be going through the same thing that Thor had to go through, where he has to learn something to trigger his powers back.
Yeah. Exactly. But my final thoughts are, it's a great movie. Stay after the credits. By
Always.
all means, it's a Marvel film. You always stay after the credits. Mm-hmm. Stan Lee makes great cameos in this one, and the thing will touch your heart. As explained in this whole spoil thing, and I know it's been going on for like an hour and 15 minutes or something like that, maybe more.
It's that good of a movie.
It's a 2.5 hour movie. There's a lot to talk about. This review is going to be long by de facto because we do have a lot to say about it, and it's 3 people talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I apologize for the length, but thank you so much for all your time. We enjoyed talking to you about the movie, and maybe the next movie will have a lot angrier reviews. Because I know you people out there on the internet like to hear people rant and rave. How about you guys?
I will say this much.
Really?
DC Comics, you have a lesson to learn.
That's right. They have some new movies coming up.
Look, DC Comics. I hope you've learned your lesson, DC.
Careful. Careful. Careful.
I'm looking forward to the DC films. I'm skeptical, though.
Yeah.
As you saw with, if you saw the review that Tim and I did of Batman vs. Superman, we're skeptical. So cross fingers. Hope they learn the lesson. Not sure if they will. But anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy, great movie. You should see it. If you don't want to see it, well, you're missing out. Quite honestly.
Yep. Did we all give it a 10 out of 10 pretty much?
I did.
I did. I gave it a never break the chain out of 10.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah,
Better than 10 out of 10.
Yep.
Good job, Marvel. Keep doing what you're doing. It's looking like you guys are learning from your mistakes from some previous films, because I have had issues with some of your previous films. But this one, phenomenal. I hope that continues, especially for your 2-parter, Infinity War.
Please let the Deadpool 2 movie come out sooner. I'm excited for that. I want it so bad.
Yeah, so am I, but at the same time, it's not... It's made by Century 24.
That's true.
So the rights aren't there, which really sucks.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds is going to have to fight the copyright lawyers, I guess.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds, if you can hear this, just so you know, just go for the spine. They don't have one.
On that note, we will see you later. Have a good one.